365 Days of Horsemanship, day 148 and 149. So yesterday was a pretty quick day with the horses. I was putting hay out for everybody. So I really just only had a chance to drop by Lawrence and Mia. Lawrence, I just kind of checked in, took his rug off, put it back on again to see if he would say no. I'm really this time of year is so challenging for me with him, with his rugs. And the problem is as well, he's 21 now. Things change every year with geriatric horses. The way that you might treat a horse one year is different from the way you might treat a horse the next year, and then the kind of summer that he's had as well has a big impact. And definitely there's been winters in the past where I have not rugged him now, and at the moment really it's just sheets for the rain, which I know is controversial on its own, but for him, he definitely gets very cold when he gets wet. He's super thin skinned, and he shivers a lot, and he just stands there. He's not really a big move around and warm himself up kind of horse. And yeah, he was as hot as I would ever want him to be underneath the rug. So I'm really on the fence. I'm finding it really difficult to make the decisions when they come on, when they go off, all that stuff. But just trying to kind of take it by feel. I took the rug off of him yesterday, and then I offered it to him. He didn't even look up from the grass, and so I put it back on again. And the grass was probably very distracting for him at that moment, but I also was satisfied that if he had been that uncomfortable in it, he would have let me know. So I kept it on. He is definitely a little under. It's been challenging, this really hot weather for him. There's not been as much nutrients in the ground, and now we're in a tricky spot with the grass because the grass is coming through, and obviously that now it's super high in nutrients because now we have the sun and the rain, and so now we're getting all of these sugars all at once, which is nightmare time for laminitis and sugar sensitivity, which he's definitely also suffered with in the past pretty mildly. But it's also just something I'm aware of, that fundamentally nature does provide, because he's got this high sugar intake, but then if he's using a lot of energy to stay warm, if it's getting cold and raining, then that kind of balances out the use of the sugar that he's going to have in his blood. But as he gets older, his metabolism changes all the time, and so it's quite challenging. So that was my kind of yesterday session, was just uncertainty around that. I just wanted to kind of touch on it today because I think it's a really controversial subject, and I think in the horse industry we see a lot of different opinions, and I think in some situations judgments can be passed very quickly on people. And I also think that one size doesn't fit all, and I also think that every horse owner in the world is trying to do the best by their horse. Well, we would hope so. I would like to think 99% of them are anyway. And whether or not they may have all of the information or not, or someone else might think they're misguided or not, ultimately they're trying to do the best. And I just kind of wanted to take a moment for us all to appreciate how challenging that can be sometimes. It was definitely challenging for me yesterday. I was definitely on the fence about my decision making, knowing lots of information about lots of different parts of Lawrence's life and who he is, and experience and research and reading and all that stuff. I went to Mia, and I was just walking back past Mia, and I just wanted to have a little quick check-in yesterday. And interestingly, I really had an opportunity to notice just how dysfunctional and irrational her food issues are, because it's sort of I try to be quite sympathetic in some ways, and quite not self-deprecating, but this idea of appreciating that she's not in a natural environment. We do very, very well here. The horses, live out all the time in herd environments, and they have a lot of kind of freedom within their pastures. But a pasture is really, somebody said a very long time ago to me, and it kind of stuck with me, pasture's kind of just like a really big stable, to a horse that is designed to move miles and miles and miles every day, and to travel and to be transient. You know, herds in the wild are transient. And so I try to kind of always be mindful of how much of her food motivated behavior and how much of her food anxiety is driven by the environment in which we keep her, and that it's something that I need to not try to change or fix or resolve or alter, and then how much of it, that I need to, doesn't mean I can't try to make her happier, but how much of it I need to be appreciative of my part in, and then how much of it is really, dysfunctional behavior. And yesterday, I was bringing back a few, I'd put out these big hay bales that have like a plastic wiring around them, like a plastic netting. So obviously I take the plastic netting off when I put them out, and I've got them wrapped up in a ball, and they've got, little tiny pieces of hay in them. And she's been moved into, they've been shut in a field with loads of grass. She had loads of grass yesterday for a few hours. She's very lucky. She wouldn't normally have that much grass. And I came past her, with these ratty, nets with a few bits of hay in, and she was obsessed. As soon as she saw that I had food, she needed to have it. It needed to be hers before anybody else's. And I thought, wow, that is very obsessive. When you have an abundance, when she doesn't have an abundance, I sort of feel, I'm like, well, we're kind of like creating this pattern of behavior, but she had it way enough food yesterday, and the obsession with the concern with not having enough was so intense that she couldn't look around and realize that actually what she had was even better. And that kind of was an interesting sort of moment to capture. I didn't have any more time really yesterday to play with it anymore, or try to help her feel better about it. So I just kind of had to take it as a day where I did an observation and left. I didn't go into flow with her, which was good. I just kept moving in supportive leadership all the way through the pasture with her. But yeah, it was really interesting. Today I had a really nice day. Short session again, looking for a good moment. Lawrence and I are still practicing our itching. The pattern remains the same. I come up to him, I walk around him until he stops me with a focus change or a moment of curiosity. I offer him my hand. He touches my hand with his nose, and then I scratch him. And I scratch him wherever I think he wants to be scratched. If he leans his body weight, I try really hard to move to the next place and follow his signal, so we're like communicating without him having to move his feet. If he moves his feet, I start moving. And I think the consistency of that pattern is starting to set in now. I think this is maybe the third or fourth time that I've played with this pattern with him, and he's starting to get it now. He's starting to get that if he wants me to scratch him, he touches my hand with his nose, and if he moves his feet, I stop scratching him, I walk around and past him, and I try to find a different place of flow somewhere else around him and ask him and like offer him my hand again. So I think that's going well. I'm really excited. Elsa's 8-week online course starts this week, and I have managed to squeeze a place on it, which is really exciting. And I'm really, really excited to just have her for 8 weeks to just guide me through all these little niggles as I'm playing with it. I'm really excited for that. Today went really well. I did some scratching. Definitely we had some nice focus changes. It all felt a lot more relaxed, and yeah, really super happy with where he's at. Really happy with where he's at with it. So yeah, I checked his foot, because initially my plan was that I would bring him up today and do his foot again. But then I was reluctant to bring him up and do dominant leadership if I could help it, because then I would also want to bring Mia up and do dominant leadership, and I've done that like 2 days in a row. And so I had a look at his foot, and actually the padding that I've put in there to protect the inside of his frog, the middle of his frog in the solstice, actually looks pretty good. So I'm going to leave it and do it tomorrow. I feel good about that. I feel really good about that. I went to Mija and I had a really short session with her because it was really good. I came up, I decided I was just going to be in supportive leadership. I was going to walk around her, hope for a category change, and if I wasn't getting a category change before I felt like I needed to go, I would find something smaller to stop on, to be in flow with. And as I was walking, I came and started walking past her, and she then started walking towards the water trough, and she was walking quite slowly and predictably, and so I decided that was something I was happy to flow with. So I walked in the direction of the water trough with her. She went to have a drink, and there was a little bit of like, it's not like algae, it's sort of just like a little bit of, I don't know, like plant in the water trough that was annoying her. So I went and I was able to take that out for her, which she appreciated. She then got curious about me. We had a nice couple of moments of curiosity at the water trough. Then we walked away together, and I'm thinking, wow, this is awesome, like so much curiosity. And she starts walking faster, so I start backing away, like not backing away, but just like increasing the distance. And increasing the distance, she blew out and her ear is going to me. And I'm like, that's really interesting. So like when she starts walking faster, she wants me to move away from her. And that definitely felt good. She was coming then towards the hay, and her ears went back and she was pitting them at another horse. So I changed direction, walked past behind her. Her ears came back forward again, so I came back into flow with her, and then she stopped at the hay and ate. And so I just stayed for one breath, and then I left. So it was super quick, like literally like 2 or 3 minute session. But I felt really good about it. I think from that perspective, for me, like I could have stayed there for another hour, probably nothing else as full of curiosity would have happened as happened when I first arrived. And so if I leave then, not only does it mean that that's great for me because I don't have much time, it's also great for her because I was there for like a really curious moment during her day. And that's really super, and I'm really happy with that. So yeah, really, really pleased, really pleased. So yeah, it's all going well. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be able to bring them both up, and if I get lucky I might even be able to get Mija in the arena tomorrow. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to hopefully having another positive experience with Lawrence on the yard, because I think that's really valuable as well. I would rather be playing with freedom-based training every day, but I also have to take care of his foot, and I think it's very valuable helping him feel better about coming up to the yard and doing things with his feet. That's something that he finds very difficult, and if I can have good feel and timing, yes, it's dominant leadership, but if he feels better, then I think that that's positive, and I'm using it as an opportunity to practice that. So yeah, looking forward to it.